Sure.
The three major networks spent 23 minutes attacking Donald Trump that night and 57 seconds on Hillary Clinton's secret speeches. You don't think this is a scale of bias worthy of Pravda and Izvestia? I mean, you want to know why Donald Trump's had a rough time?
If Trump is a sexual predator, that is...
He's not a sexual predator.
Okay,
you
that's
can't
your
say
opinion.
that.
I'm not taking a position on it.
You could not defend that statement.
I'm
sick and tired of people like you using language that's inflammatory, that's not true.
Excuse me, Mr. Speaker.
Donald
you have
Trump
no idea whether it's true or not. What we know is that there are at least...
Neither do you.
That's right, and I'm not taking a position on it, unlike
yes, you are. When you use the words, you took a position.
So what
I think
it's
very unfair of you to do that, Megan.
Incorrect.
I think that is exactly the bias people are upset by.
I think that your defensiveness on this may speak volumes, sir.
No,
what I said is... No, let me make my point, and then I'll give you the floor. What I said is, if Trump is a sexual predator, then it's a big story. And what we saw on that tape was Trump himself saying that he likes to grab women by the genitals and kiss them against their will. That's what we saw. Then we saw 10 women come forward after he denied actually doing it at a debate to say that was untrue. He did it to me. He did it to me. We saw reporters. We saw people who had worked with him, people from Apprentice, and so on and so forth. He denies it all, which is his right. We don't know what the truth is. My point to you is, as a media story, we don't get to say the 10 women are lying. We have to cover that story, sir.
Oh, sure. Okay, so it's worth 23 minutes of the three networks to cover that story. And Hillary Clinton, in a secret speech in Brazil to a bank that pays her $225,000, saying her dream is an open border where 600 million people could come to America. That's not worth covering.
That is worth covering.
You want to go back through the tapes of your show recently? You are fascinated with sex, and you don't care about public policy.
Me?
Now, that's what I get out of watching you tonight.
You know what, Mr. Speaker? I'm not fascinated by sex.
Director for Gun Owners of America. Welcome, Eric.
Hi, Carol. Good to be with you.
Nice to have you here. I just want to read you some statistics. Every year, more than 100,000 people are victims of gunshot wounds. And we should point out that that number does include suicides as well. According to the CDC, in 2013, more than 33,000 people die from firearms every single year. Isn't that too many?
Well, what you failed to point out, Carol, is that the CDC also, pursuant to President Obama issuing a decree to have them study this issue, they found that anywhere from 500,000 to 3 million times a year, guns are being used in self-defense. So that means for every negative, tragic use of a firearm, you have guns being used 16
I just
to 100.
want to point out facts. I don't know what study you're citing, but the CDC has been barred from doing any research on guns.
The very same statistics.
Congress won't fund the CDC from funding any gun research on gun violence.
He commissioned an executive order in January of 2013 ordering the CDC. In fact, Slate wrote an article after the CDC published those statistics. And Slate is certainly no pro-gun magazine. And they pointed out, the article was entitled "The Surprising Findings by the CDC." And certainly they were surprising to people on the left. The fact that 16 to 100 times more often, guns are being used to save life than to take life. Now, the president since then seems to have ignored that CDC study. How ironic. He wants more research, etc. But when the research was done, it actually found guns are saving more lives than are being taken by them.
You can't ask me a question.
Because you can't answer the question.
Oh, you can't ask me a question, honey. I can't answer, so don't even try.
What attracted the father of the Orlando terrorist to your candidate?
He's a mentally ill individual who ran for president.
I get it.
Pardon me?
What attracted him to your candidate? And your answer was he's mentally ill.
His answer stop smiling and smirking like it's a...
Listening to a few bad words coming out of Donald Trump is a lot better than people getting blown up by terrorists, people getting burned alive, heads being chopped off, and people getting drowned.
So, Mary, to you as a mother, sitting in your seat, I know you have two other children, you have two young girls as well. So does the rhetoric of this campaign on both sides, does it bother you?
Well, certainly as a mother, you don't like to hear some of these comments that are so somewhat bombastic and inflammatory. However, I think the tenor of the world right now allows for those kind of feelings to be aired. And honestly, when it comes to confronting a terrorist, I would rather have Trump confronting him than his opponent.
So looking at you, you look like a future politician, if I can even say that, only because of your awesome tie and your button, my friend. But really, do you have an interest in politics as a future career?
I've always had an interest in politics. I'm not really sure because looking at all the insults flying around in politics, then I might, I don't know, but I think I might. It's a slim possibility. I'm going to go into lawyer, to be a lawyer first and then see if that could be my future.
And the first thing you would do when you sat down in the Oval Office, Matthew?
I don't know if I'd be into the Oval Office, but I would, right now or in the future?
In the future.
I don't know what the issues are going to be in the future.